Welcome. In this video I'm going to show you how you can create a back-to-back histogram, sometimes referred to as a pyramid chart, using Python. I'm using JupyterLab with a Python version of 3.12, and this video will focus on creating a diagram, something like the one here in the middle. Not so much if you should or how to interpret them, just on how to get them. I've already loaded in my example data. I did that by loading in pandas, then downloaded the data from my website, Student Statistics, as a data frame. I didn't need all the data, I just needed a categorical field, in this case gender, and a numerical field, in this case over a grade. In a separate video I've shown how my own library actually has a function that can just calculate or show this diagram for you. But in this video I'll be using pyplot, which is one of the standard plotting tools. In order to do this, we now need to separate the two um, categories. So I'm going to create a list of booleans for each of the two categories that I'm interested in this case male and female. And then I can actually select those as a separate list, the scores then, and remove any missing values as well. So now I have two lists, one for each of the two genders that were chosen in this survey. Of course, I need pyplot or pyplot, sorry. So I'll use the standard PLT to actually reference that. Now I'm going to combine the two lists as one large one, and then create a histogram, so that's being done here. Then actually use the histogram function and actually catch the counts, the bins, and some other details, because I'm mostly interested in actually the bins that it's using. I can of course also set my own bins, but in this case I'll just let the hist function decide on, okay, these are the bins. Now to create a histogram, I'm actually going to create two of them. So I'm going to say number of columns is 2, but they do share the same y-axis. And then I'm just going to create a histogram for the x and for the y, and that gives us the result. So the problem now is that they're side by side, and I actually want them back to back. So we rotate each 90 degrees, one clockwise and the other one counterclockwise. We can do that by setting the orientation. So if we say orientation equals horizontal, then that should actually work now. So now they're both horizontal. But I still want this one to the back of the other one. The trick here is to use then the invert x-axis for one of them. And that way, so I'm going to do that only for the first one. And that way they actually now look back to back. There's still a big gap in between, so let's adjust that by using subplots adjust. So by subplots adjust, we say the horizontal space, the width space is just going to be 0, and then that way they actually are now back to back. The range on the left is 0 to 7, as you can see here, rather than 0 to 4. Or, well, not rather than, the other one is using 0 to 4, so that's a little bit misleading in this. So let's set the x limit for both of them to be the limit of the maximum of the two. So I'm just going to grab the counts from each of the two histograms and then actually say, well, whatever is the maximum, use that for both of them. And now they both have actually the same scale. We might want to add some colors for each side, adding a border, label each axis. So that's all being done here at the bottom, and that gives us slightly nicer view of the whole thing. If we wanted the two histograms on top of each other rather than next, we change a few things as indicated here. The number of rows instead of number of columns. So here we now have number of rows equals 2. The orientation goes back to vertical. We invert the y-axis instead of the x-axis. We swap the limits for the axis and just adjust the labels. So that gives us nicely now the top and bottom one. We can also set density to true, and then we actually get the probability density, or sometimes referred to as the relative frequency density, which is the bin count divided by the category sample size times the bin width. So if we just set the density equals true, it's done over here for each of them, we should actually see those relative frequency densities or the probability densities. Um, but what if we wanted the frequency density instead? Well, in that case, we can simply multiply that relative frequency density or probability density by the category sample size. So if we get those for each of the two categories, and then we basically say, well, I want to actually multiply each of those n-axes by that new uh, by that sample size. So that's being done here and there, and then we say, well, okay, the rectangle, the set widths are going to be that new sizes. Once we do that, we now finally have nicely the frequency densities. If you wanted the percentages, that's also an option. We set the density back to false, and then we divide by the counts of those. So that's being done here. I divide by the count and multiply by 100 to actually get the percentage. And then we nicely get the percentages for within each category. Alright, I hope this video was helpful and thank you for watching.